Hi guys, Quinn. Long time no post. I've been all over the place. I've been all over the place with my feelings. So this is definitely PTSD. Why black? I realize I'm being presented with an opportunity to grow around my PTSD. Um, I'm being faced with a situation. I don't know how well I can name this. In my life, I've had multiple times where I was put in a situation where I had to move um, quickly, to move out of wherever I was living very quickly. Um, and with the PTSD, and now that I'm living in a place that's not my home, that is not a home that I own, all those fears from my past are coming up. Um, or, or at least they're playing out as if they could be real, as if it could be real that I would lose my home. And I'm very scared. And I know a lot of it is an irrational fear, but it feels so very real. Because where I'm living now, I'm the only black person in the house. So I'm isolated there. This is not my family, so if I feel isolated there, that it's not my family. So it's if I say anything that would make anyone uncomfortable, I have this fear of resentment being built up against me and not being um, trusted, or as if I will lose loving community. And there's just a situation where something has happened within um, the greater extension of this family, um, where someone is not being nice to her kids. And um, I am very triggered and angry over how these kids are being emotionally abused. Um, and for me, it puts me back in a place where when I was 19 and I moved out here to California, I took care of some kids, and their stepdad was um, very aggressive and emotionally abusive towards the kids. And when the oldest daughter was skipping school or something of that nature, and the car got stolen, um, because I couldn't drive at the time. I hadn't learned how to drive. Um, I didn't have a license. He had all this rage that he took out. I mean, yelling at his wife and yelling at the kids, yelling at me, saying that, I'm stupid and inadequate, because I'm 19 years old, don't know how to drive. And at the time, I was a self-injurer. Um, and it was very berating, very berating. And I remember him throwing dishes and throwing chairs, leaving marks on walls. Because I know somewhere I have a photo of where a chair hit the wall, and there's a big hole in the wall. Um, and so that was a very traumatic event. And I'm getting to go through it now, that what I'm seeing or perceiving is happening within this family with distant relatives. Um, that I am triggered by this first event from when I was 19 years old and taking care of two children. Um, and I have these feelings, those same feelings of inadequacy that came up from then are present now. Um, and I realized, just talking this out in support groups and stuff like that, I realized that that event with the father was the first example of physical and emotional violence that I had experienced, um, from someone that was such a loud and large outburst. And I felt completely powerless and inadequate um, regarding how to handle it. And I realized that I've gone through all of my life and not resolving the feelings and the emotions from that issue, from that experience. And so I still carry around these fears of not being prepared enough, not being adequate enough to handle the situation because I'm not smart enough. The fear of not being smart enough. But I realize as I look back at that situation, I was 19 years old and I didn't know anybody really out there, and I didn't know like all the requirements for um, kids going to school. The reality with the whole thing is I was 19. I was a child, and the people who had me as taking care of their children while they were away, they were adults who chose to have a child who could not drive watch their children while they went to work. They were traveling on the road. So there is only so much that I had control of in that situation. And so now here I am as an adult in this situation, and I have a different set of tools than what I had when I was 19. So that's something for me to consider, that I'm not still that 19-year-old girl who is terrified and unable to take care of these kids. So I'm getting to see that I'm triggered in that way. I'm really triggered. Um, and I can let her go. I really want to take some time to forgive the 19-year-old who did what she thought was best, using the tools that she had at the time, who didn't know how to recognize her own feelings, her own needs, was very codependent, and had put other people's lives, experience, and expectations above her own. And that I can just take a moment and forgive her. That I did the best that I could at the time, with what I knew and the tools that I had. And those tools may have been inadequate at that time, and that's okay. That's what I had. It was like being asked to build a house and someone gave me a rubber mallet when I really needed a hammer or a drill. And the people who could provide the hammer or drill were not available. So that's okay, that I did the best that I could to hold that house together. And so I just practice forgiving myself. It's okay for me to sit 19-year-old Quinn down and just forgive her. And love her. And love her. Because I have the tools now to tell her that I love her. I have the tools now that have shown me that she matters. Her experience mattered. And that I love her. And it's okay to want to be loved, to want to be validated, and that her experiences are real. And now that I am here as the adult I can provide new tools towards the experience that I have here today. And it's okay to take what she had learned from that experience and to apply it to today. Sometimes facing trauma can be so scary, but it is absolutely worth it. Till next time, peace.